do. What is really cool about this screen here, by the way, guys, is that we can see how they place in the league. So, for example, Lufol with a KDA of 10 is right now 4th place in the league. So he's a pretty successful player nonetheless, despite taking a couple of blows. And I think Mercy was 10th in the league. So that's it's pretty nice to see. You know, a nice little extra amount of bonus information.
Indeed, very cool to see indeed. No issues with that one at all. So then, we're going to be heading into the draft, our first draft of the day in this matchup, not of the day in total. Towers of Doom, it is CE's usual stomping ground. Let's see if they're going to be able to take it out.
All right. Was that chosen by CE, by the way? Did you pay attention? I didn't see it.
No, I did not see, sorry.
Okay, anyways, let's see. Who has actually got first pick? Yeah, it was chosen by CE because TeamNut has first pick, first ban. So there we go. CE takes us to Towers of Doom. It is one of their most familiar, most successful battlegrounds, if you will. And oftentimes, especially when you play against lesser experienced teams like TeamNut, who are only, you know, facing their second phase ever of professional HGC, then you can really just overwhelm because Towers of Doom follows certain patterns, right? So mercenary camps need to be taken every now and then. The altars usually spawn on familiar locations as well, especially in the early game. So yeah, sometimes you just overpower your opponents by, you know, getting the better rotations and preventing the enemy teams from getting anything.
And with that, we are going to see the white main removed again. But Genji's let through, which is quite surprising, but I guess there's so much priority these days.
Yeah, and here he goes. I think that's going to be a hero for Mercy. Like, he definitely won't have to ask twice about that. If they hadn't picked Genji, they would have risked a Lufol on that hero, and he's, despite his struggles at the moment on heroes like Raynor, Phoenix, Hanzo, he's still one of the most lethal Genjis in the league, if unleashed. So I like, for the one fact that they secured it themselves, but they also pick it away from CE.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Deny that away. Although we already have a potential Lufol hero in the form of the Raynor.
Yeah, true.
That could have been swapped over to Zhuyu in theory, so the Genji might have been very acceptable for them. So like you said, very nice steal away. And now they bring out some more protection for it. Karazim, one of the few supports who can actually follow Genji. And Yarel, a frontline who's going to be applying armor to that Genji if he decides to dive in deep.
And already we can see an early Karazim for TeamNut. They're saying, we dare you, CE, to pick that Muradin. Didn't work out well early for them. So let's see what the ban is going to be. On the other hand, they are banning out the ETC, which is interesting. So trying to remove not only a frontliner, but also a potential global. And I think if TeamNut is smelling, you know, this kind of trap that EC is trying to prepare here, they're going to ban the Dahaka right now.
They should, in theory. Yeah, Dahaka would be reasonable, and there it is. Immediate Dahaka ban. The Prophet Kendrick coming in there. I was just trying to work out like other options, but none immediately jumped to mind. Maybe choking out tanks with their second pick. So yeah, it makes sense to ban out a solo laner, but unfortunately that does mean Blaze still makes it to the board, who is still very acceptable.
All right. Let's see what we're going to see here. Blaze, of course, pretty solid. Nothing out of the ordinary for CE. Just looks like another standard draft for them. On the other hand, TeamNut, all right. Adding the Anubarak into the mix here as well. Up to this point, there is no real shredder for the Cocoon, so this should be a Li Ming. Like, not only would the Mage fit in there, with the Disintegrate, you can take care of the Cocoon. Not sure if Zhuyu plays a lot of Li Ming, though, so that could be a potential issue. They go for the Thrall, indeed. I don't like it, Tetcher.
The Thrall, but with a Raynor this time, is better than the previous series, I will say. I think this draft works a little bit better for it, especially against a Jaina. We need to avoid that burst damage. So, I don't hate it. Not this time. But I am curious if they're going to be able to execute it well enough.
Yeah.
TeamNut, though, they are a quote-unquote weaker opponent in theory.
True.
Their draft requires a lot of high execution plays.
That is certainly true. Like, they have mechanical heroes like Genji, for example, that need precise timing as well. If you go in too early, for example, or too late as a Genji, they're probably not going to add too much during a team fight. Then they have a Nubrak who also needs to be extremely cautious on when to engage. Very susceptible to auto attacks. Guess what Raynor does? Guess what Thrall does? They pack a punch in their basic attacks, right? So maybe that was another countermeasure, the Thrall pick here, to say, you know what? We're going to punish this Beetle as hard as we can. So under those circumstances, I'm actually starting to like the Thrall a little bit more. Yet I can't help but feel that Li Ming probably would have been a better call overall. But let's see what they have.
We'll have to see what they have indeed. As we are preparing to head into our first map, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, this is Towers of Doom, so poke and denial of the objective is also very important. This is something that Jaina is exceptional at, but so is Thrall. Both his abilities in terms of damage, the Feral Spirit and the Lightning, the Chain Lightning, are fantastic at that quick denial play as we are beginning to load in.
Loading in, ladies and gentlemen. Can TeamNut finally get some more points under their belt, or is CE yet too steep of a hill to climb here for them? Let's find out in a bit. On the left-hand side in the blues, we see the boys of Challenge with a Luful, XTQ, Juyu, KTY, and 365.
And on the right, it is TeamNut with Mercy, Atui, Malthael, Jigsaw, and Dia.
All right, the two new faces here on the side of TeamNut, Jigsaw and Dia. Pretty solid performance yesterday, actually, from coming in from those two. I really liked the overall performance of the front line of TeamNut, despite the fact that they weren't all too successful as a team.
Whereas, agreed. I mean, in terms of like the middle of the pack, this is a very close matchup in terms of all of the teams. Everyone, the distance between like everyone in the center of the pack is much smaller than last season, where there was the top four and then no one else.
True. This could very well, if all teams maintain their current shape and form, I think this could very well prove to be the most competitive and close phase of HGC China that we've ever had. Now, KTY, something's fishy in here. He doesn't trust the lonely Irel here, and already he is correct with Dia and Karazim lurking in the shadows there.
Makes sense. Good reason. Juyu is going to back up here. Plays it a little bit safer. Grabs a potion or two. Able to play away from this pretty quickly.
Wait, is Juyu playing main tank here, by the way? Did we not highlight this?
Oh, yeah, we did not highlight that at all. With an Exterminator, XTQ playing the Thrall.
Okay.
Let's see how this works. He's dead.
Doesn't matter if he plays main tank or melee flex here. Looks like XTQ is not really having a good time up to this point. But yeah, we have to mention this. Another spontaneous role swap coming in for CE. They've done this in the past already with a KTY and Juyu for the most part. You know, switching between range flex and melee flex. And now all of a sudden, the substitute for Wind, the main tank player XTQ, is no longer on that burden. He's now playing Thrall. They try to diversify a little bit on how they are playing these games. Malthael on Jaina, in trouble, gets stunned, gets slowed, gets blown to pieces, but retaliation kill against Raynor with Genji.
Yep, Mercy able to move through that. They're looking for Juyu now, who's going to get that potion. They're going to look for maybe a turnaround onto Mercy. Quick stun, but he dodges the Scroll of Sealing and prevents any kind of follow-up. Raynor at level 4 picks the armor because that just happened.
Yeah, exactly, right? He wants to be a little safer. It goes for fight or flight here. Additional armor while the adrenaline shot is active. Once again, Exterminator, pretty interesting to see it on Towers of Doom. I don't consider this to be a heavy PvE map, but once again, it's not just for PvE objectives, but it's also for, you know, rotation speed. So if you have quicker wave clear, you can rotate faster, thus, you know, soaking up experience a little bit quicker as well. Thrall took the level 4 stacking quest, by the way, on Feral Spirit. So whenever he dies or misses a Feral Spirit, it's going to go back to 0. If he completes it, though, he gets lower mana costs and cooldowns on the Feral Spirit. So it's a hit or miss. If you get it, that's great. If you die a lot or if you're missing a lot of abilities, you're never going to get it.
Quite literally a hit or miss with the Frostwolf pack coming in here. We'll have to see how he does. Bot lane is already captured, but Genji has been interrupting top, and with Yarel and Nubrak and Karazim all coming in here, we have to see that rotation from CE hurry up, and they are on the way.
They are on the way. They catch a Tuli here. Karazim needs to actually get some distance in between himself and Murden. But while he's busy defending himself, that means he can't really, you know, support his teammates anymore. And the Beetle gets caught out in the open, has that burrow charge available. Karazim also helping out. Genji is going to jump over the wall here, so no casualties on the side of TeamNut. And they maintain a pretty healthy kill lead, you know, nothing too major though. And core health, of course, now favoring CE after getting 2 altars.
They're not that far behind in experience now, CE, after grabbing a little bit of extra experience minion-wise, but a quick blow-up again. TeamNut with another great execution. Now looking for Zhuyu. The swing from Jigsaw misses though, but there's nowhere for Zhuyu to go. 4 kills to 1 as level 7 is hit by TeamNut.
TeamNut says no to that rotation, and CE loses 2 members just like that. Main tank and support both getting blown to pieces, and this is more like the TeamNut that the fans out there want to see, I'm pretty sure of. But yeah, Tetris, CE, they struggle again. I think at this point you can say the morale has been shaken. It has almost been broken. And while it was not a game-deciding gank or anything, it was still a sign, you know, it was a statement. If XCQ ends up falling here as well, no, he gets the safety. Misses the Feral Spirit though, I believe, so he's back to 0. Nice
stun onto Dia there. Nothing too bad for the moment. Quick stuns onto you. Nothing immediately coming out of CE in terms of aggression, and this is why they're getting caught out of position on their rotations.
Right.
Once we have, I think this is, assuming Murder doesn't die here, Zhuyu getting focused down, and he is dead. What I was going to say is this is where they can start to make a comeback, because what has happened here? What rotation was this? Down goes the Thrall. What I was going to say is this is where CE can start to make a comeback. They can actually fight as a team instead of getting caught out in rotations. But it turns out they get caught out in rotations before I even finish the fort.
And this is basically standard, basic Heroes of the Storm, right? It's not like those are the most fabulous kills we've ever seen from TeamNut because they are just playing out of their minds and they're 2 steps ahead of their opponents. It's basically because CE brings themselves into these unlucky situations by just rotating mindlessly, taking the most obvious movement paths, right? And then also maybe overextending and overestimating their own tankiness. Like, Zhuyu is not a main tank player, right? He's used to playing squishy ranged assassins, so sometimes he probably expects the Murder to be tankier than he actually is. So, and then of course, XTQ also running around like headless chicken sometimes. I really don't understand what Thrall is supposed to be doing here in this game.
Neither. It's an unusual one as Alufal, quick knockback, keeps his team alive for the moment. KTY has been holding top lane quite well. He is actually usually the one who gets focused down in these matches, but in this case it's been pretty fine. Rotation comes in from Thrall, does not land the Frostwolf, and as such, Frostwolf pack stacks are removed.
Yeah, and that is the issue here with XTQ and Thrall in this build, especially with that little 4 as well, right? You're playing Thrall not as a soul laner. That role falls into the hands of KTY in the Blaze. So you're a ganker, but if you can't make those ganks happen, or if you have a gank and you miss your abilities 24/7, you're never going to get stacked. Look at Mercy, by the way. Beautiful body blocks here, intercepting this. 7-sided is just executing KTY. And just before he reached level 10, just before he could pick the bunker to safety, they take another kill, and they have another 5 versus 4 situation just in time for this altar to spawn, you know? Oh boy, if Malthael gets away with this. Oh, so close though.
Quite the massacre. Good stay on the list from 365 might give Lufal a chance to escape, and it does. Zhuyu escapes over the wall, but Mercy with the Dragon Blade gets a little bit more damage. Quick dive by Dia. Avatar has to be popped, but Zhuyu still goes down.
That he does. He even had to use the Avatar, and without their main tank, without Thrall yet again. That little Raider is trying to buy a couple of extra seconds here. That interrupt though, not too shabby. KTY needs to be careful though. Same goes for Dia. Dia, I'm not sure if you saw it on the Anub'arak, he's almost completely out of mana. So if they maintain that fight, if they keep getting poked, they can't even contest this anymore.
We get zoned away. XTQ channels in the shots, but this time denied by Jigsaw, who is going to get stunned out. But Raider is distracted, burning through the Jaina here.
Okay, Anub'arak is back, this time with more mana. The stuns are landing against XTQ. Hops into the bunker. Is he going to make it out alive though?
Nice.
Now he is.
Malthael was getting dived on by Muradin, but the Cocoon saves him as the fight continues. Jigsaw is dropping so much CC onto KTY, who will get taken out. Ardent Defender is dropped as well, as Zhu dives deep. Mercy is dropping very, very low. A nice turnaround onto Jigsaw, but he's actually tanking through this. He gets the Breath of Heaven. Dia, with no mana, even escapes as well. But with that, we might actually see CE move in for the channel. 365 is channeling it through. He doesn't get the interrupt.
Doesn't get the interrupt, unfortunately, and Anubrak was actually baited in by the Genji. No more mana to protect himself, but down goes Muradin as well. A 1-1 trade here. Is XTQ going to fall as well? Yet he is, and the double jump actually almost coming in from Jigsaw. Looking very solid here. I'm liking it.
Nicely done. Able to turn that round in their favor. And as such, TeamNut, even through a little bit of extra greed, which did get the Anubrak killed, they lost the shots, but they still control the experience. A full level ahead, about to gain a talent advantage.
12-3, actually, Tetcher. What is going on here? The former champions of China, CE, one of the teams of China that has represented the region at almost every single international tournament. They're just getting bodied from left to right in those team fights. Mercy has found a target yet again. It is a loophole. Hector K needs to use an emergency tool here, actually, to keep Raynor alive with that stay a while and listen.
Slam does not land. Oh, sorry, Stormbolt does not land. Dia in position to protect if Muradin jumps over. Jigsaw disrupting. A noob comes over the wall to help out. Ardent Defender is not available yet, so they have to be careful with this. Instead, they're just going to turn on and try and kill KTY. Good sundering for the turnaround, and Jigsaw gets wrecked.
Jigsaw gets wrecked, didn't have the Ardent Defender ready. It was 13 seconds from coming off cooldown, so cooldown management not really going so well right now for TeamNut. They probably should have taken that fight a little more carefully, but they did have level 13, right? They did have a good initial lock-on onto CE, but they must not fall into this trap of, you know, underestimating their opponents. The moment they see Blaze or KTY, at the moment they were like, yeah, we got this kill, right? We got it. Speaking of getting killed, Zhu is in so much trouble. If Seven Sider had been popped here on an Iceland Muradin, that would have been the kill for sure. But yeah, don't make that mistake of counting CE out. They still have a lot of class in their repertoire.
Mercy is so low. The minions literally turn around and shoot him. He will die. He actually takes an arrow or two, but does survive, with Karazin the first to die. Malthael gets the ice block, but is completely surrounded. And CE suddenly wake up, turn up, and show up the team.
Nice play by Dia.
Although Dia does escape. Very nice. Badgie's chasing him down.
Oh,
he gets out.
Yeah, that was a really cute play by Dia here. He basically used every single ability just the way he needed to. That Cocoon of Muradin was absolutely necessary, otherwise he would have fallen as well, and then used the shield as well. Okay, so now TeamNut, after showing us a brilliant early game. Wait a minute, Jigsaw is not done just yet. The Urael in no man's land. Can she actually hold this?
She's tanking through with Ardent, but has to back up. Shots taken by CE. Now Jigsaw is in trouble, but Zhu has dove too deep, and he gets taken out.
Gets taken out, so a kill for a boss. Oh my golly, these teams are not giving us any breathing pauses here. It's team fight after team fight. Welcome to HGC China, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, so basically TeamNut, you know, they are a little bit behind when it comes to core health, but in terms of actual experience, they're doing okay still, but they cannot afford to have any more of those sloppy engages where they bring themselves in a precarious situation and lose heroes before their opponents.
Trading blow for blow. These two teams are looking for the opportunity for the next objective. It's going to be a triple phase. Last time we saw Nut try to interrupt CE, and they actually ended up losing out on a couple shots there. So they need to be careful not to make the same mistake again. If they can get an early kill again, though, that would be fantastic for them.
That is true. So double stun here coming in from Muradin. The Raider actually intercepting a couple of Genji shurikens, a frostball here and there. So well done there. Nice little helper to have around. Dia bringing... Go for it.
Erdicating Spines coming in for a Nubarak, so he wants to dive in and do that quick burst damage, which is what his team is going to be gain more efficiency from, as opposed to the Burning Rage. Doesn't matter if he dies, but he will tank through that CC of Thrall and Muradin.
Yep, good for now he is. So let's see, Karazin. A lot of weight on his shoulders right now if they get that Muradin yet again, because I think Zhuyu, probably one of the more vulnerable targets, as crazy as that sounds on a Muradin, but he's actually had a couple of moments where he was too far forward. So, 2 altars already being taken by CE. TeamNut is just a little too slow when it comes to catching up and interrupting CE from taking those.
There we go. Shots, shots, and shots going on to TeamNut's core, down to 12 health. CE sitting on 24. They have literally double the health of TeamNut right now. And TeamNut, they were trying to steal the camp, but CE rotate too quick, and now Dia is in danger. Quick Impale keeps them alive for the moment. Bot Bell Tower is taken. This is what TeamNut have been doing in the meantime. Jigsaw wrapping in from behind. Yarel is on the flank. What can she make out of it? They go onto XQT, trying to focus him down as Dia comes in from the other side as well, but they're getting zoned out here.
They're getting zoned out, but they keep everybody alive, and that is the most important thing, right? On top of that, which is the icing on the cake right now for TeamNut, they are having this bottom bell tower under control. So even if they were to lose yet another altar, for example, they wouldn't take as many shots as they normally would. So now, with those mercenaries in place, escort the VIPs to the finish line. That could actually be pretty sweet. Let's see if we're going to see an all-out escalation near the death zone of CE.
Let's find out indeed as they begin, as CE, they're trying to poke down this objective already, trying to do what they can for this.
Hey, Tetra, who's going to make the first move here? A zoning blizzard coming out from Jaina already. The mercenaries have taken heavy damage though. Cleansing touch for Karazim. And it looks like TeamNut is about to disengage. They shouldn't leave this spell tower uncovered though, because they still need it in order to zone out their opponents and potentially take these double altars. Urel is going, Tetra. Here we go.
She's trying to move in as she's getting CC from the side. A quick cocoon onto the deck of flame, which is being burned down by the people in the bunker as Dia gets cleansing touch. Getting dove though. Juju was trying to focus that Dia, but a quick dive away. Dragon Blade is now popped with most of the CC already used onto the rest of the team, but low health members with the sleep. Juju moving on to Dia once again, trying to finish him off. Yarel is alone in the backline. Mercy will escape, but he will be the sole survivor.
All right, CE giving zero chills about that. They move in right next to the enemy bell tower, and if it hadn't been for those minions, let's take a look at those minions again in the replay. Look at this archer minion over here. Then we had the fort shooting at Zuyu, but he's a tanky dwarf. There goes another archer minion from nowhere, and if that fort had continuously fired onto the enemy heroes of CE, I think TeamNut would have had a better chance of actually holding this, but as it is, too much damage coming around this one time here. Urel falling, and all of a sudden, I think it was a double altar in favor of CE. Yes, it was. Down to 5 HP we go for TeamNut.
They were looking so good in the early game, but suddenly TeamNut, they just show up here today and are beginning to put on all of this pressure.
That they do. Now they have several winning conditions, right? Double altar, of course, is the most obvious one. They have a boss that could also bring them down to 1. Then maybe another mercenary push would be great. 5 seconds. Uh-oh. This is a true Monka-esque moment here. Are they really going for it? Is TeamNut walking into the trap of CE?
Looks like they're moving back, though, trying to pull them away from the boss, which they do so. Juju is very low at 2. He's also low. Jigsaw trying to tank through. Ardent Defender 28 seconds away. He's pulling back, but Luful chasing him down. Picks up the Yarel. Genji uses the D-Flex already. Stay at 1. Listen. Hits Dia, and Dia goes down.
All right, 3 casualties to 0. I think Tetra CE has broken the curse that had befallen them earlier against Beyond the Game. After a wonky start, after a terrible start on this game, they managed to finally balance out the kills. 13 to 13 right now. 4 shots onto the enemy core, but TeamNut, they're not cracked yet. They still have 1 HP left. The question is, can they respawn in time? 20 seconds. 15 seconds until this altar will be open. Now, they need to guard this tunnel, right? If they walk into this trap of using the tunnel altogether and CE being surrounding them, that could be a trouble. Uh-oh, Genji.
And down it goes Genji. That is fantastic news and great timing. As once again, a man advantage gained by CE in time for this objective, as they are going to be able to potentially channel this in, unless we can see TeamNut get the interrupt. Tui gets the first interrupt. Who's next? 7-sided strike. Buys him some time, but he can't get over the wall. He doesn't have the vision. He gets the... No, too slow. And CE are going to take game number 1.
Yeah, Tui on that Karazim, he really desperately tried to stall it out for as long as possible, but there's only so much one Karazim can do. And finally, although it wasn't the cleanest of performance by the 2-time China champion CE, they're able to get a point.